If you don't know your own value of your time, then you'll never make your time valuable. I'll say it again. If you don't know the value of your time, then you're never going to make it valuable. Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life. All right, rock stars, this is Andrew Houston from Profit for Contractors with the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. We're going to talk about sobering up, okay? That's what we're going to talk about. Sobering up on your hourly rate. Yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a bit. But you know, my mom used to say to me about the word nice, what it stands for. Nothing inside me cares enough. So I'm telling you these things today because I care for you, all right? Because I love you. So what are we looking at today? We're looking at sobering up on your hourly rate. Why? Because so many contractors today, and this was me back in the day, this is like 90% of the clients, you know, the people that come in that join the Champion CEO group. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. We're not getting paid what we're worth. As a matter of fact, we're getting paid a lot less than what we're worth. So today I want to take some time to help you guys figure this out. So I'm going to give you guys 3 key secrets on today's podcast that's going to be a game changer for you. Now, like I said, it's going to hurt a bit. We got a little exercise that we're going to be able to work out with you in no time at all, in literally minutes as you're listening to this. It could be as you're driving your truck to a job site. Maybe you're going to go and quote a job. Maybe you're going to the suppliers. I mean, I don't know where the hell you're at, but let's get down and dirty into this right away, okay? So, you know, I always talk about the No Bullshit Podcast, and you know that name, No Bullshit, it means a lot to me because I think one of the biggest things that we have to come to grips with is our awareness on certain areas that I think a lot of people don't want to talk about. They're not willing to talk about it. They don't know to talk about it. And the problem is that if we don't face the reality in certain aspects of our business and our life, then we're just going to stay where we're at. As a matter of fact, good chance is that we're going to go backwards, okay? So I'm going to walk through with you guys these 3 secrets, and I swear to God, it's a game changer. Now, if you're listening on this podcast and you're not a contractor, probably best you jump off. If you're offended by, you know, the odd swear word here and there, hey man, that's just my style. Maybe it's not for you. But if you're looking at making more money, if you're looking at making more profits, if you really believe in my motto, and if this is the first time you're listening to this podcast, the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors, one of the main principles that I really focus in on when I have my contracting business, and it's a game changer if you really think and believe and behave along the mindset that your profits are there to pay for your freedom, okay? We've got to make as much money as possible, make our business as profitable as possible, as fast as possible, with the least amount of heavy lifting on our end. Now, with that being said, you know, certain stages of your contracting business, you are going to have to do some heavy lifting, okay? But in today's podcast, I want to give you guys a reality check of like how much you're actually worth, okay? So let's get into this. So we are going to literally calculate. I've got a little bit of a formula we're going to get into, which is secret number 2, but let's talk about secret number 1. And we're going to calculate what your hourly rate, is. So the very first secret in figuring this out, and let me say this before we go any further, why do you want to figure this thing out? Like, why would you want to keep on listening to this podcast, right? Well, here's the thing. If you don't know your own value of your time, then you'll never make your time valuable. I'll say it again. If you don't know the value of your time, then you're never going to make it valuable. You're never going to be able to know what to say yes to. You're not going to know what to say no to. You're not going to know, what constitutes, moving forward with something, stopping something, keeping something. And if you don't identify, first of all, as a champion CEO, you're the owner of the company, right? Like, think about this. You should be doing the most valuable things, the things that give the business the highest return on investment. I mean, you think about me doing this podcast. Like, why do I do this? Well, I do it because I love it and it's fun. I had no idea that this podcast was going to take off the way that it has, but hey, it's great. I mean, I do it authentically because I want to help you guys. On the same token, let's face it, I'm keeping doing it because it brings a huge awareness to contractors out there that are looking to get help, that are looking to do things differently, they're looking to not having to figure it out all on their own, that want to leapfrog decades the days. And if that's you guys, I'm sure my team's going to put a link down below. I think we got like over 8,000 people just in the in the contractor tips group. That's not the champion CEO group where we have our champion CEO clients that are working with us, hand in hand, day in, day out. But it's a great group if you're looking to get some insights from other contractors. I mean, Christ, we only let people in on that contractor tips group. It's a free group who are worthy of it, who are worthy of filling out the odd question to get into it, right? We're looking for people that are willing to give as much as they get. So anyways, let's get right into this. So we got to figure out what you're worth, okay? And what are you worth as far as where you're putting your time? So the very first secret in figuring this out, and this one's huge. Think about this for a second. If I said to you right now, like, how much do you make? Be honest and open. Try and answer it as fast as possible. I'll give you guys like 5 seconds. Okay, so like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How many of you that were thinking of that answer, how much do you make? Were you thinking about how much sales you've done to date? Okay, maybe not to date because the year just started, but maybe. Okay, January's done. Maybe it's last year. Okay, but we naturally go to our sales. Now, I think one of the main reasons that we go to sales is because that's what we know, right? Like, sales is what drives us. Sales is not just what drives a lot of contractors before they become part of the Champion CEO group or before you listen to this podcast, but that's like the common language of contractors, right? Like, if you talk to I still hang out with lots of contractors. I mean, why? Because I love the demeanor of contractors. But I think any contractor you talk to is sitting down at breakfast together and you go, hey man, how's it going? How's your year going so far? And if you start talking about numbers, the first thing they'll bring up is sales. And usually the last thing that they'll bring up is what? Yeah, what is it? Profits. That's right. Okay. So the first secret in calculating, your value is not to use your sales. It's to use your profits. So that's what we're going to do today. All right. So I'm going to use a couple of scenarios, and yes, I'm going to use some numbers. Write this stuff down. The principles are super simple, and you can do this. As soon as you get it, again, if you're driving your truck, as soon as you can do it in your head, you write it down on a piece of paper. It's super, super simple. So I'm going to go through 3 different scenarios. Okay. So there's 2 core numbers that we want to look at. All right. One is the amount of time that you put into your contracting business. So if by chance, which is not the case for probably 90% of you guys, but if by chance we use the 40-hour work week, okay, roughly, the average person puts in about 2,000 hours a year, okay, if they were to work 40 hours a week, okay? That's the math behind it, okay? It's like 50 weeks, right, times 40 hours. You get the whole idea, right? We come up with 2,000, okay? That's accounting for a couple of weeks off and what have you. So let's just agree that a person that puts in 40 hours a week, we're dealing with a total number of hours, right? Because remember, what we're trying to figure out here is your hourly value, right? How much are you worth per hour? At 2,000 hours, okay? So we're talking 40 hours a week, okay? Let's say that this company, okay, this is the second number we got to look at. So one is time, the other one is how much profit. So let's say the company, this contracting company, made $50,000. Now, when I say $50,000, I want to be clear about these things called profit, okay? I'm talking about how much money is left in the business on the bottom line, okay? $50,000 is left. That means after paying all the expenses, all the overhead, all the material costs, all the variable costs, paying all your guys, all that, right? So if we look at that, okay, here's the example. 2,000 hours. Remember we talked about a 40-hour work week in this scenario. And the profit's $50,000. All we do is we take the 50,000, that's how much profit we are dealing with, divided by the amount of hours we put in. So in this case, 2,000 hours. So if that is you or somebody that you know and they made $50,000 in profit a year running their business, and that's what's left over, they'd be making $25 an hour. That's what they'd be worth, $25 an hour, okay? Now you might be thinking, that's okay, but think about it. You're a champion CEO. You're an owner of a company. If you're valuing yourself at $25 an hour, if you're doing, that means that when you look at where you spend your time, on average, right, in this case, based upon those hours, you're making, your value is $25 an hour in profit, okay? Now let's go to scenario number 2. Remember we said we're going to go through 3 scenarios. Scenario 2 is you got this contractor, owner of a contracting business, and he works 60 hours a week, okay? 60 hours, right? Times the 50 weeks in the year, right? Basically, we got 3,000 hours we're working with. Now, in that exact same scenario, $50,000 in profit. It's $50,000 divided by now $3,000. And guess how much that person is worth? That owner of the company. $16 an hour. That's it. I'm going to do last scenario. And by the way, working 60 hours a week is nothing. That is totally reasonable in the sense of, being an owner of a contracting business, right? Putting in 60 hours a week, we have most of the clients that come to us, like that's probably like the average, okay? We got people that are a little bit below, we got people that are above. So let's go to the last scenario, which is a little bit more above, okay? They're putting in 80 hours a week, okay? Still dealing with the $50,000 in profits, okay? Over the span of the year. So at 80 hours a week, that's 4,000 hours a year, okay? 50,000 divided by 4,000. Again, guys, I rounded up these numbers. It's not to the penny, okay? It's not 0.95, 0.5. I'm just simple rounding up numbers here. $50,000. They're putting in 80 hours a week, which equates to 4,000. So 4,000 into 50,000, $13 an hour. So number 1, the very first secret, you've got to use, okay, your profits. That's what you've got to use. Don't be focusing in on your sales. Just because you've got just this company, this contracting company, they could be doing $1 million in sales. They could be doing $2 million in sales. They could be doing 3. They could be doing 10, and all they have left over is $50,000. Like, think about this, okay? You've got to get that as a perspective, okay? You've got to put that set of lenses on to really realize. I know you might be driving in your truck, listening to this podcast, going, "Holy shit, Andrew! Thanks for ruining my day." Well, listen. Hopefully I haven't ruined your day, but let's talk about the other secrets, okay? Let's talk about how you can increase that value, okay? In just a moment, okay? So secret number 1, just to be clear, is a simple formula, which is the amount of profit you make in a year. If you want to figure it out per month, guys, if you just looked at, hey, how much was my value worth this January? If you can look back and look at your profit and loss statement, which you should be looking at every month, and look at how much profit you have, and you look at how much time you put in, then break it down, using those numbers, okay? But regardless, it's got to be the total number of hours, okay, divided by the same period of time, the amount of profits made over that same period of time, and you're going to figure out what you, on average, are worth per hour. Now, you can run away. You could hang up this podcast. You could, I don't hang up, but end this podcast, stop listening to it, or we could actually move the dial, right? I like moving the dial. I like taking these things that I think is common amongst, and you're not alone. If you're listening to this and you've calculated that you're $13 an hour or 16 or 25 or less or a little bit more, it's normal, okay? It's okay. But what's not okay is for you not to do something about it. So let's go to secret number 2. So secret number 1, make sure you use your profits and make sure you use that formula. Secret number 2, you have to use the data to change what you do. So what do I mean by that? Look, on the previous podcast I did, I'm pretty sure it was the previous podcast, I was focusing in on the importance of auditing your time. This goes hand in hand with this exercise. Okay, so secret number 2 is you need to know what type of activity that you're doing, because the secret is that you need to up your level of value of the activities that you do. So in the previous podcast, I'm just going to be really quick in a nutshell. Okay, wrap this baby up on secret number 2, is that when we look at our time, we can't just guess where our time's at. We literally have to audit it. That means we have to track where we put our time, because if we guess too much, you're going to guess wrong, okay? And we need to identify and look at that time. So example, we look at last week, for example. Well, let's look at right now, you're able to look back to yesterday, okay? Let's just use yesterday, right? You can look back to yesterday and you can go, hey man, where did I spend my time? If the answer to that is like, I don't know, that's a major problem. You need to know where you're spending your time, because if you know where you're spending your time and what I call is defaulting where you put your time and what activities you do with that time that are high value, you're going to change the outcome week on week, day on day, quarter by quarter, month on month, to the value that you get, i.e. the profitability. Okay. So the higher the profitable, the more valuable tasks that you do. It could be, following up on quotes that you've quoted and you've just forgotten about. Okay. So that you're actually closing the deals that you put the time in and invested in to try and get. Okay. It could be like we talk about this Monday morning meeting, putting in the time to create a Monday morning meeting so that your team knows where the hell they're going during the week before the week even starts, so they can be set up for success before the week starts. Setting the right expectations with them, communicating to them what is a win, what is a loss. Looking at your profit and loss statement. I mean, guys, I can go on and on. I mean, if you want to get some more information on what are some of these top valuable tasks that will multiply, that will 10x your hourly rate and the 10x the amount of return you get in profits, then reach out to us, click the link below, message me, type in the word, more valuable profits or something like that, whatever it is. Okay. Let's come up with something. How about profitable time? Okay. So let's go with profitable time. Okay, if you guys want some more information on which strategies those are, because here's the thing. Secret number 2 is so important, because if you don't default your success, if you don't put in your calendar the things that you need to do that are higher value, then you're going to let in everybody else's game plan for you. And those tasks may not be valuable at all. They might actually be losing you money. I mean, let's look at, if you don't have a system for filtering out Class D deadbeat clients who steal your money, who rob you, who don't pay you, who use you as a bank, well, then you're going to get more Class D clients, right? Not only are you, but so is your team. And it's a cascading effect. It's a cascading, multiplying negative effect, okay? So remember, secret number 1, use the formula, leveraging profits, leveraging time to figure out what is your average hourly value. Number 2, take a look at where you're spending your time. Go back to the previous podcast if you want and start, auditing your time, tracking where you're putting it. So then we can go to secret number 3. Secret number 3 is absolutely huge. But if you didn't do secret number 1, secret number 2, well, then guess what? You're not going to have the right set of lenses to follow through on it. So secret number 3 is huge. It's increase your value with the level of awareness, okay, of what you're doing, okay? And there's the, let's call it the ABCs, right? ABCs, 1, 2, 3. Let's just go with the ABCs of really how you go about increasing your value, okay? This is like an action plan, guys. So this is like the simple ABCs, okay? So as far as determining what it is that you're going to do, outside of reaching out to us for getting the pre-done list for it from us, right? A in the ABCs is the easiest place to start. Now, what is the easiest place? As far as picking what you're going to do and where you're going to, what you're going to do with your time, the A is about what you do with what you know that's more valuable. Okay, so when you look at auditing your time, you look back and go, holy shit, I spent 3 hours cleaning the shop. Holy shit, I spent even 10, 15 minutes cleaning the toilet or taking out the garbage or going to Staples, or the list goes on, okay? Going and getting coffee for the guys, having the day start late because nobody shows up on time. Like, I mean, guys, that's like, these are things that are not valuable. Now, I'm not saying that they don't need to get done, but if we're talking about some of those tactile things like cleaning the shop, taking out the garbage, cleaning the toilets, delivering material, those are things that you should not be doing as a champion CEO. And those are totally things that are minimum wage Okay, honestly, they are minimum wage, grunt level activities. I'm not putting down the people that do it. Hey, we all had to do it someday. But if you're an owner of a contracting company, you shouldn't be doing that shit. So what we got to do is we got to replace it with more valuable things that you're already more aware of. Okay. Making sure, back to that, I'm just going to use a Monday morning meeting, making sure you're having the right level of communication at the right frequency with your guys. Those are things that you know you've got. If you do them, you're going to get so much more output, more performance from your guys. Taking a moment and sitting down every month, minimum, and looking at your profit and loss statement to know whether or not you're profitable with the work that you're doing. You know that's going to help you. You know that that's going to allow you to make the right decisions and ask the right questions. More importantly, okay. You know that if you did back costing and job costing, if you actually started breaking out and comparing, your quotes from what you estimated to what is actually going on in the job site, like right now, like today, you know that you are going to have a level of insight to maybe take somebody off a job site and put the right person on the job site, or maybe give the right guidance and the right level of leadership to your team, so they know what they got to do. Or maybe you're going to know that, looking at your, at your backlog of material orders, that you're like, holy shit, I forgot to order that 300 MCM, or I forgot to order that pipe for that plumbing job, or I forgot, or maybe I got to follow up with, like, guys, there's so many. Maybe it's a little bit overloading what I'm saying right now, but I want you just to slow down, to speed up, and understand that there's so much opportunity. You don't have to pick 18 things right now. I want you to pick one thing that you're going to stop. I want you to pick one thing that you're going to keep doing that you know is valuable, and I want you to pick one freaking thing that you're going to start doing. Does that sound like a plan? On the A, regarding the ABCs? Okay, cool. Next, the B in the ABCs. The B is, what do you know you need to learn to up your game? Okay. So A was doing things that is going to give you higher value. Okay. The B part of it, okay, of increasing your value is getting more educated, guys. Look I sucked at reading financials in the beginning. I remember the first time sitting down and looking at my numbers with my accountant, and my fucking palms were sweaty. I was like nervous. I was, be honest with you, I was really intimidated. But look, you can learn this stuff, man. If I can learn it, you can learn it. If the thousands of contractors that we're working with have not only learned it but are applying it, you can do the same thing. And it doesn't mean you need to be a genius out of the gate. Just become more aware than what you currently are right now, okay? One of the key things that I have you do on your financials, I'm just saying this, but this is not about financials today. It's about upping your value, is you sure as shit got to know your break-even margin, okay? If you do not know what your break-even margin is when you're quoting jobs, you could be quoting yourself out of business. Okay, so you need to figure that out. If you want to get more insights on that particular topic, break-even and your profit break-even, message me break-even or profit break-even, and we'll help you with this. Okay, maybe just mention this podcast. Okay, just say, hey, I was listening to the podcast on sobering up, and I'll know what you're talking about. Okay, so that's B. C. Okay, so B is a little bit harder because you got to put in more time. You're not fully educated on the thing you got to get more educated on. Maybe it's quoting jobs better. Maybe it's hiring better. Maybe it's, understanding those financials better. Maybe it's, negotiating better with your suppliers. These are all things that we teach at Profit for Contractors, the Champion CO group, and you can learn those things. You can get insights on those things, and it's crazy as valuable. I mean, seriously. So C, here's the C in the ABCs of leveling up your value, okay? What are you not, and this is the highest value area that a lot of people, they take for granted, and it's so obvious why they take it for granted. It's because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So C is, what are you not aware of that other contractors, right, like the champion COs, that they're aware of, that they're learning, that has been a game changer for the business, okay? Look, you can't expect to know it all. And look, people sometimes think, oh, Andrew, you're an expert in understanding contractors, understanding how to make them more profitable, understanding how they can get more freedom. Yeah, I'm pretty good at it, but I wouldn't say I'm some massive expert. You know what makes me, if I was ever to give myself the title of, I don't think I ever would, but if I ever was to even think a little bit about being an expert, I wouldn't define it as me. I would define it as my Champion CO community, okay? Together we are experts, okay? We've got literally thousands and thousands of years. I'm not joking. If you add up all the experience inside the Champion CEO group, we got thousands of years of experience that there's no way I could have gotten on my own. But together we are experts, okay? So surround yourself. So what do you do with C? Like, okay, Andrew, how do I know, like, what do I do if I don't know these things? Well, you've got to surround yourself with people that you do know. Listening to these podcasts is a prime example, okay? You're learning things, hopefully, that you weren't aware of before. Hopefully maybe you've never done this calculation of figuring out your hourly. Maybe you tried to do it before and you use sales instead of using profits. Like, this is a freaking game changer if you really do use it and apply it, okay? So, guys, those are the 3 secrets. Secret number 1 is make sure you calculate and go back, pause it, do whatever you got to do. Go back and calculate. Secret number 1 is calculate what your current value is, okay, of time. And it has to be a dollar amount, and it has to be very tangible, hence why it's a number, okay? Secret number 2 is you have to leverage this information to understand and to look at the importance of identifying and auditing, where are you spending your time? What activities are you currently doing? And that was discussed in the previous podcast on defaulting your calendar, on auditing your time. Go back to that, okay? Or just take the tips that I gave you today to at least begin that process. Secret number 3 is the ABCs, right? The A is, focus in on doing the things, more of the things that you already know are more valuable, that you know how to do, that you have the skill set that you can take action on right away. And that has to do with, what are the things you got to, stop doing? What are the things you got to keep doing? Remember, we talked about just one of each. Pick one of each. What is something you're going to stop doing? One thing you're going to keep doing, and one thing you're going to start doing. That's it, okay? The B of the ABCs is what do you know you need to learn and up your game on, right? Secret number 3, or C of secret number 3 is what are you not aware of, right? That other contractors are aware of that you need to learn more about, okay? So guys, time to sober up. Time to get real. It's a bit of a reality check, okay? But that's part of why this is the No Bullshit podcast, because if you get real and look in the mirror and really come to grips with where you're spending your time, it's not about being busy, okay? And I think just from a mindset perspective, we got to get way the hell beyond, like making money with the mindset of like on an hourly basis, right? Like in the sense of like us putting in the time, okay? I'll give you a little hint, okay? When it comes to secret number 3 and doing some of the things that you're unaware of, like the C of the ABCs, it's funny that as you move up the contractor's ladder of success, and I've talked about that before, I'll be touching on that, next couple of podcasts or pretty soon. As you start moving up the contractor's ladder of success, okay, from, the baseline of startup to the next level of survival, to the next level of stability, to the next level of scale, to increasing the value of your business. As you move up there, and I'm just going to share with you where I'm at. I've been at this place many times, but I've had to grow and build these businesses. One was my contracting business. Now I've done it with this coaching business. I make a lot of money not by how much time I'm putting in. It's where my company and my team is putting their time. Okay? So my value is less driven by time. In the beginning, it was driven by time because I was the one doing the coaching. I was the one back in the, owning my own automation company. I was the one running the pipe. I was the one installing the servo motors. I was the one doing the programming. I was the one doing the technicians sort of hands-on stuff. But as you move up, and this is where the profits pay for your freedom, you're making money even while you're sleeping. You're making money beyond you. And it's not you having to do it. It's your team being leveraged and leveraging systems. Anyways, guys, I think we covered off a lot today. Don't want your heads to explode. Use these 3 secrets. Put them to work. Let me know your thoughts on it. Keep posting in the Contractor Tips group. Join the Contractor Tips group if you want. If you're looking for some more help from us on some of these specific areas, you can DM me on the, on the list of the more profitable, higher level, high value things for champion CEOs. If you guys want to get some more insights, just DM me and we'll rock and roll and help you guys out as best as possible. All right. So this is another podcast, another No Bullshit podcast from Houston. And I just love it, man. I love it. So talk to you guys soon. See you in the flip side. Ciao.